So, folks, the girls are fighting, and we have to do our due diligence. We have to watch the girls fight a little bit. Both, for the slight twinge of enjoyment we might get from watching them fight,
Let them fight.
but also for the purposes of understanding who's going to be leading kind of the next phase of Republican talking heads in this country. It's pretty important, I think, to understand where the wind is blowing when it comes to the Republican Party. And folks, like the fighting's bad. They're unfollowing each other. They're getting catty on social media. You've got Jack Posobiec unfollowing Laura Loomer. You've got Laura Loomer fighting everybody. You got Nick Fuentes out there in the trenches. You got Ben Shapiro and Megyn Kelly tearing into each other. It is nuts. Okay? And as far as I can tell, obviously, like, a lot of this has been fracturing since Charlie Kirk's assassination. And just as an example of this fracturing, here is the Quartering, who put out a video that says, "This has broken me. I'm out," and an apology. Let's take a look.
This is kind of an important video. I hope that it resonates beyond just kind of the surface level, the thumbnail and everything else, because I'm just tired and I'm done, and I'm sorry, and I'm heartbroken, and there has to be a place where people get a respite from the constant black pill of what's going on right now in the majority of media, conservative media. Obviously, they don't consider me part of that.
Oh, he's so sad. Look, buddy, you took your best shot. You launched your very own white nationalist news website. You did your best. You just didn't get the clicks from enough of that Nick Fuentes crowd. I'm so sorry, bud. You can't win them all, champ. Maybe next time you'll be able to rally the white race to your cause.
I'm not one of the cool kids. I'm not in the big groups with all these channels, but it's been just wildly clear to me for a couple of days now, and I'm going to make a change based on it, because yesterday was just a breaking point for me. Look, if you're a viewer of this channel and you've agreed with my takes about what...
Isn't he just some nerdy chud guy? No. These nerdy chud guys launched like their own businesses to try and like profit off of their conservative audiences. And this guy, honest to God, launched like a white nationalist news site. And like, it didn't bill itself as a white nationalist news site, but if you looked at, I don't know, the majority of their articles being about black people doing crimes, it's comparable to Stormfront. It was quite biased, and I don't know. Watching their mini empires fall, I think, is a net good for society.
What's going on with, what the real reason is, what's going on with, TPUSA and Candace. Cool. If you're a viewer of this channel and you think I'm an idiot, that I'm not awake, and that I don't see, I
do also have to say, I think it's very funny that conservatives have started saying that I'm not awake, or you need to wake up, everyone. And one way one could say that is you need to be woke, but they don't say that for some reason, and I think that's very funny.
Foolish for believing the official narrative. I think that is cool too. And who really knows what's going to come out of all of this? I think it's clear now, this whole get to the bottom of what happened to Charlie Kirk. Yesterday hit an important inflection point to where it's clearly gone personal. And I admit, I agree, and I partook in kind of the personal attacks too. I fed into that. That's not okay. That's not wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah, look, guys, look, we were just speculating about an elaborate conspiracy to kill a man that may or may not have been orchestrated by his wife and the organization he founded. But, like, it was never meant to be personal. It was, guys, it's not personal. It's just business.
That's not unbiased. I admit that, and I never denied this, but certainly there are lots of questions around what led up to happening to Charlie Kirk on September 10th. But I'm done with it. I have to check out. It's gotten too dark, even for me. Maybe it's me getting older. I used to love this stuff. Used to love the...
But now I'm staring into the void of the conspiracy, and sometimes I think it stares back into me.
Jack Murphy expose takedowns and all this stuff. But this just feels different to me. And I just don't think I want to be another dividing voice in this community over this. My viewers are everything to me. People might say, well, Jeremy, you're not talking about this anymore because you're losing subscribers. That's not true. Actually, my channel is growing. The Candace Owens v TPUSA topic is really the hottest thing going on in this space. But yesterday, I feel like there was a line crossed, and people that want to continue their search for truth, and there's a lot of people, I believe, in that search.
Like, I'm sorry, it's just so weird. Like, these are the guys who will, like, get on screen and just, like, say, Teesler, 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 all day, every day. These people, like, pride themselves on telling it like it is and being blunt. But the second something like this, like an inter-party slap fight between different content creators happens, they're suddenly all like, what? Oh no, don't look at me, guys. I don't got a bone. Look, it's very nuanced. You have to understand the nuance. Come on, dude. But long story short, you know, you had people like the Quartering, like, jumping out of this particular, I don't know, this particular drama, this particular factionalization of the right. And, you know, to an extent, like, that seems like probably a pretty good idea for some of these content creators who want to maintain kind of their status quo positions, right? The folks who are engaging in this fight are trying to go big or go home, kind of thing. Like, if they fail, then they're done. But if they succeed, they have everything to gain. And so what's happening, you know, you also see, like, Steven Crowder is trying to claw back to relevance by hosting Nick Fuentes on his show. You have Piers Morgan hosting Nick Fuentes on his show. You've got, well, and then it brings us all to, you know, the fight between Candace Owens and Erica Kirk, which seemed to kind of have resolved itself. But then over the weekend, Turning Point USA had its America Fest. And it didn't really go super well for a lot of different reasons. The drama hit some very high highs, and I think maybe you might be able to tell how the drama might have been stoked from this intro video for America Fest 2025. Let's just take a quick look at it, shall we? You'll note that the very opening shot is of the microphone from Left Behind by the Assassination. So, you know, we're really opening on a subtle
note. They say
note.
Wake up because they think they're in the Matrix. They need to wake up and take the red pill. Specifically Premarin.
Oblivious, thank you for the $5 dono. Very much appreciated. This is 6 minutes long, by the way. This is going to be lengthy, so get cozy.
in life you will realize the more rewarding thing to do might be the more difficult thing to do. That is a guaranteed way that you will.
And I just want to guarantee you guys, you have no idea where this is going if you haven't seen this before. You have no fucking idea where this is going.
Experience opposition. The most important question is not whether it is easy or not. It is it worth it? And the more often that you choose the deep, the difficult, but the right path over the easy path is one that will reward you, your family, and this beautiful nation.
He fell believing America was worth dying for. And for 250 years, our history has been written by those who stood firm against every force who swore to break this country.
Honey Brew, I appreciate it. Oh my god. The Redcoats, Confederates, the Nazis, the Japanese, the terrorists, and then Antifa. All comparable. Also, yeah, just real quick. Yeah, no, this guy right there, that's supposed to be Antifa. Just in case you guys didn't know. The ninjas for some reason.
It's about taking the easy path because I am now quite hard.
Sake Tanuki, you know what? I'm just gonna let my Goonie side show in this particular segment. I'm sorry. The audio clip they played of Charlie Kirk sounds like a pep talk a top would give a bottom. All right, look, I'm just calling it like I see it. It's a pep talk given from a top to a bottom, and you can't unhear it once you have that frame. All right. Also, we're gonna pause champ our way through this. All right, you guys are not ready. So, okay, just real quick, we've got, let's see, is that Marx, followed by Lenin, then Mao, then Hitler, then Stalin, then Kim Jong-il? I don't know this one by face. Yeah, okay, yeah, you got our revolutionary boys down in Cuba, the Castros. Now that's Kim Jong-il. Maybe Pol Pot. And then Bernie Sanders, some of the greatest mass murderers of history. Then you've got Ilhan Omar. Is this an AI ad? Of course it's an AI ad. Of course it is. Oh god, and then I don't know who this guy is. Is that George Soros? I genuinely I don't know. Maybe Gorbachev. Khrushchev? Don't know this one. Oh, AOC, of course. You gotta get AOC in there. AOC, Bernie Sanders, Hitler. The three just run together. Of course, it makes so much sense.
Hello, Jack of Riverboat. I am Nayib Bukele, glorious leader of El Salvador. I hear you share a penchant for destroying minds and breaking wills. Perhaps we should chat over lunch?
What's that? Nayib Bukake? I'm sorry, I can't dissociate. I'm sorry. We earned every single one of those 773 toots. Thank you for supporting the stream, and thank you for tolerating the suffering, chat. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I apologize to my editor for having to edit this out of the segment. Our suffering will not make it through the edits. It's true. Censored, each and every one of you. So, to pick up where we left off here, before the edit, you know, you got Hitler, Mao, Stalin, you know, some of the greatest mass murderers in history, and then Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Ilhan Omar. Yes, the very same mass murdering types all lined up together. Makes total sense. Oh, I'm sorry, there were two more. I'm sorry. Just real quick. There's Zoran Mamdani and Jasmine Crockett? That's Jasmine Crockett, right? And they're just so comically evil, you know? God, it's what, yeah, Zoran Mamdani, exactly the same as Adolf Hitler, everybody. Turning Point USA, doing great work.
Spiritual war, everybody, that is beyond just the material that we are seeing. This country was founded by courageous Bible-believing Christians. Jeremiah 29:7, seek the welfare of the nation that you are in, because you're...
God, can we just, like, take a moment? Like, the AI slop is just everywhere now, and it looks so bad. It looks so bad, and, like, it's boring. And, like, they do it because it's cheap, and they don't really give a fuck about the kind of thing they're putting together. They put this together because they have to go through the motions of giving a damn about Charlie Kirk. But, like, I'm sorry, anyone who gives a fuck about Charlie Kirk, like, actually, who, like, loved him and cared for him, does not, like, give a single fuck about him if they co-sign on this, you know?
Welfare is tied to your nation's welfare. What makes this movement different is that you are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. Disobedience to tyrants is obedience to God, because liberty is not man's idea, it is God's idea. Will the people who are the sovereign in this country do everything they possibly can with this incredible blessing given to us by God?
I just want to point out, like, all of the media that they're showing right on screen right now was opposed by conservatives, right? Like, can we like, I don't know. I Love Lucy, women in the workplace, unacceptable. Oh man, Michael Jackson and moonwalking, too suggestive. Oh man, look at those hips. He should be banned for being a danger to the children with all of his hip wiggling. Like, every single thing here was genuinely attacked by conservatives of the time for being, you know, inappropriate for the kids, or being demonic, or being, you know, too unacceptable. Look, this is from a look. These guys all have guns to their heads in this scene where they shoot themselves in the dance number. Like, did no one think about that when putting this together? They don't give a fuck. In this tribute to Charlie Kirk, they use, I think this is from either How to Marry a Millionaire or Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I forget which one it is. But in this particular scene, in the hype piece for Charlie Kirk, you have a scene of a bunch of men, like, blowing their brains out? Are you what? What are you doing?
Fight back.
God.
Win.
Where then is the road to peace? You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
When Turning Point USA was started,
Yeah, man, Charlie Kirk, just like his forefathers storming the beach of Normandy. Man, exactly the same. Getting up on stage and telling Christians that they should hate gays. It's exactly the same.
could not have imagined what God had in store for this organization. My political journey was in the midst of the Obama craze in Chicago. As someone who was generally conservative, I realized this generation, millennials, is going to be the most progressive generation in history if we don't do something about this.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard.
I was 18, no idea what I was doing, no connections, no money. We didn't have an office, we didn't have a staff. It was just me just traveling the country doing this pure grit, pure energy. We are an organization committed to ideas and to principles, not the political parties or politicians. We are in a generational battle right now that the stakes could not be higher. And the experiment and the gift that our founding fathers gave to us could be easily lost if we don't make the proper choices in the right course of corrections.
That's a lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what.
After Charlie's assassination, we didn't see violence. Instead, we saw what my husband always prayed. We saw revival.
You're going to hear of what Charlie did, but I'm here today to tell you the why in what he did. The why brought him the courage. The why brought him the wisdom and the strength. The why is the one that Charlie wanted to welcome as the guest of honor. The guest of honor, his resume is long. He's the King of Glory. He's the Prince of Peace. He's the Savior of the world. He's the living God. He's the God of all mercy and grace. The total embodiment of love.
Okay, like, what I find interesting about this, right, is that the use of this Christian rhetoric in a political context while showing images of Charlie Kirk, like, this, I'm sorry, like, I gotta tell it like it is. I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian church, and I think even if I was still in that mindset, this would come across as extraordinarily heretical to me. Like, this is fucking blasphemy, like old school, like heretical blasphemy. Because what it looks like you're doing, and what I am sure is exactly the intention with this, is to place these lines over images of Charlie Kirk deliberately to pay homage to Charlie Kirk instead of Jesus Christ. These are like the combination of like saying the total embodiment of love and grace while showing pictures of Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry, yeah, this is straight up heretical. You're actually in this presentation replacing like Christ, you know, the figure that is at the supreme pinnacle of the religion, with Charlie Kirk as a kind of martyr figure. They're trying to deify him. They're trying to make him into their conservative god and saint. It's really gross.
The total embodiment of truth. And he's here today to call his children back to him.
I know I speak for everyone.
Like, I'm sorry, wait, just real quick. Did he even say?
But he did. The why brought him the courage. The why brought him the wisdom and the strength. The why is the one that Charlie wanted to welcome as the guest of honor. The guest of honor, his resume is long. He's the King of Glory. He's the Prince of Peace. He's the Savior of the world. He's the living God. He's the God of all mercy and grace. The total embodiment of love. The total embodiment of truth. And he's here today to call his children back to him.
I know I speak for everyone here today when I say that none of us.
They didn't even say Jesus Christ. It literally, if you did not know about like the tenets of Christianity and weren't familiar with the delivery of like church sermons, you would be forgiven for walking away from that thinking that uh all of those words talking about he's a living God, you'd be forgiven for thinking they're saying that about Charlie Kirk. And that's why I say it's blasphemous and heretical. Like, this is literal idolatry. It's crazy.
Us will ever forget Charlie Kirk.
We speak with Charlie and for Charlie louder than ever. The tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule has just begun.
We should be thankful, not angry, to live in this country. Would you agree? We should be thankful. We should be kissing the ground and say we are the luckiest human beings ever to exist, that we are able to live in this country at this time. And yet, I see that half our country seems upset. They seem angry that they're born in this country. America is the greatest country ever to exist. Period, bar none. Is the greatest country ever to exist, right?
250 years of brave Americans have proven those words true. Ordinary people choosing sacrifice over comfort, duty over self.
I want to honor God in all that I do. I want to be a great husband, a great father. I want to serve this country. I want to try to continue to lead this movement and to speak truth and to never lie. To stop thinking of yourself all the time and instead think about what you should do to help other people and to defend this country above yourself. You still live in the greatest nation ever to exist in the history of the world. There is still so much to be hopeful and to be thankful for. And we have agency.
When truth is under attack.
And that's true. That is one of the major things, by the way, that Charlie Kirk did. It was to let conservatives know they have agency to work in their communities in order to further their conservative worldview and goals. And like, I gotta be honest, for far too long, that messaging was met with, frankly, not that much organizing pressure from the left. We need to do better at that. Because, frankly, again, if you have conservatives all walking around being like, yes, we have political agency, of course we can get involved in our local politics and change them in a way that we think is good, but we don't get out there and do that, we don't get out there and organize and push back, then guess what? It's no wonder that these fucks win on the local level. You know? They're organizing virtually unopposed. So you guys need to do your bit and organize too. Join your local DSA, make it effective like the New York City DSA, and join your local Dems and radicalize them. You know, radicalize them to progressive working class policy, radicalize them to support their local unions and workers who are attempting to unionize, radicalize them and make them like actually push for things like Medicare for all and democratic worker co-ops. Like, we can do that. That is not an impossible task. Like, I'm sorry, if like a red county in the middle of nowhere can buy like a municipal grocery store because the last like corporate store has closed and the nearest grocery store for, 50 miles is like a 2-hour drive away, like, yeah, we can make really cool things happen all over the damn place. Don't let yourself be limited by your doomerism. And if you need help organizing in either of those capacities, we've got a Discord where you've got channels to do just that.
America has always answered with voices that refuse to be silenced. Charlie was one of those voices, and now it's our turn to pick up the mic.
We have only begun to fight.
This is their reaction to the why won't any of you play any of his clips if he was so great criticism. They cherry-picked all of the non-racist ones. Yeah, and if people want to watch the uncherry-picked version, you can go and check out my video of Charlie Kirk in his own words. Now, of course, this event was absolutely wild, chat. Here's Erica Kirk sitting down with Nicki Minaj, who, for no apparent reason, decided to immolate her career. Maybe it is because she's dating a man who's a sex offender and is looking to get a pardon. I don't know, but it was sure surreal to see her show up.
For young men. And for young men, don't be new scum. Yes, see, dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president. And you have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president.
Nikki. No! The amazing values embodied by the assassin, J.D. Vance. Like, just the pause. No!
And when I say that,
trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
Okay, look, I know we've all talked about Erica Kirk's reactions to various things, being very weird, but I do have to say, if I was on stage at an event I had organized, and one of our guests accidentally had a slip up like that about my husband who had been killed only a couple months prior to this event, I think I would lose it. I don't think I'd be able to laugh that off. Like, that's genuinely one of the worst slip of the tongues I've ever heard in my life. And if you told me that Nicki Minaj had like faked this entire appearance in order to get that slip in as like a jab, I would maybe believe you. It's that bad. But I don't think she her actual appearance was like an hour long. I don't think she did this on accident or to try and do this. God, that wasn't a slip up. That was intentional. I mean, I think she knew she was gonna say that. I don't think she really connected perhaps what was gonna happen here, or what the implication might be until this very moment.
Yes, we did. I love you. I love you. You have to laugh about it, truly. I have been called every single thing, and you know what? God is so good, you let it roll right off your back. And this is what's so beautiful about this moment, because if the internet wants to clip it, who cares? I love this woman. She's an amazing woman. She has a soul and a heart for the Lord. And words are words, but I know her heart, and it doesn't even matter. And you say what you want to say because I know your heart. I do not judge that.
Sister. Thank you.
I'm sorry. This entire thing is maybe one of the most bizarro things I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, like I don't really know how to classify this other than maybe what we're seeing is just kind of the inhuman end of the road of like twisted, like grifter behavior. I don't know. Maybe this is the final form of griftism. I genuinely, I have no words for how weird this is.
For boys, be boys.
Amen.
Be boys. It's okay. Be boys.
What? Why are you transitioning from talking? What is this? This is like someone made a conversation about politics for aliens, but didn't really understand what politics was. This is genuinely insane. Jack, what does she mean by that? It's probably some anti-trans bullshit, but like the whiplash of going from a slip up talking about like the assassin mindset of JD Vance to a woman whose husband was assassinated only a couple of months ago, and then suddenly, without really any preamble or transition, going in on trans boys. Like, it's so weird. This conversation sounds AI generated. It would not surprise me if everyone involved in this uses AI so much that they're just divorced from the concept of humanity at this point.
There's nothing wrong with being a boy. How about that?
Amen.
How powerful is that?
How powerful is that? No one's saying it's wrong to be a boy. You can be a boy. It's okay. Boys are good, actually. What? I'm genuinely baffled.
How
by
profound is that?
Amen.
No, yes, it is transphobia. It just doesn't make sense to go from a snafu about assassin mindset, men to look up to, into boys are good. Boys are boys. And, that's weird.
Boys will be boys, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
What's something the media and men?
I just we could watch her entire appearance, but genuinely, it's all incoherent garbage. Okay, it's all incoherent garbage. Does she know about trans men? Yeah, she knows about trans men, but bigots don't care. Now, we've talked a little bit about how this is kind of the breaking point for the conservative coalition, right? You've got weirdo behavior from Erica Kirk, who is now the head of Turning Point USA. She's the person putting together this entire event. And this, however, the Blaze TV helpfully put together a little montage of clips here about the conservative civil war and infighting. Let's just take a quick look, and then I think we'll watch all of Ben Shapiro's speech, because it's kind of the ground zero for all of the infighting in this phase. Let's take a look.
If Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk if Candace Owens decides to spend every day since the murder of Charlie Kirk casting aspersions at TPUSA and the people who work here, who worked with Charlie every single day, his best friends, to cast aspersions at Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff and Tyler Boyer, and yes, at Erica Kirk, and to imply or outright claim complicity in a cover-up over Charlie's murder, to spew absolutely baseless trash implicating everyone from French intelligence to Mossad to members of TPUSA in Charlie's murder or a cover-up in that murder, then we, as people with a microphone, have a moral obligation to call that out by name. And the people who refuse to condemn Candace's truly vicious attacks, and some of them are speaking here, are guilty of cowardice. Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA.
Yeah, Ben is angry, and the fighting is real. The fighting is real because essentially and I've said this for the last few videos here, we talked about, Republicans are just Nazis now. And the real division within the Republican Party, at least online in this sphere of organizing, is between whether or not overt bigots and anti-Semites will be allowed to become normalized facets of the party, a la Nick Fuentes, or if that bigotry and anti-Semitism need to remain covert for a while longer. And of course, Ben Shapiro is kind of the head of we should have covert bigotry and, continue to rely on our dog whistles and such while supporting the state of Israel. And Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, they're the faction that is saying, no, we should just be allowed to be openly anti-Semitic. And Tucker Carlson gave a speech at this event basically saying, of course I'm not an anti-Semite, but if I was, I would tell you guys. it is all performative for their conservative bases, but the conservative base seems to have shifted from Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk away from the Daily Wire crowd, away from kind of this intellectual grounding of the Republican movement. You know, and you can disagree with that grounding as much as you like. It still had it in the form of Ben Shapiro. You know, like he was called the cool kid's philosopher or whatever. And obviously, you've watched me debunk countless of his videos. He was not that eloquent or articulate, but that veneer of having an argument that kept them kind of in this realm of civility, this realm of needing to reject outright overt bigotry as like a tool to organize around. And these folks on the outside, the Candace Owenses, the Nick Fuenteses, the Tucker Carlsons, they have no such constraints anymore. You know, Tucker Carlson has Holocaust deniers on his show. He has pseudoscientists. He has, preachers talking about the, abominations that are LGBTQ. Like you got, he checks all of the boxes. He's just not quite ready to make that leap into saying he's an outright anti-Semite. That is not the case of Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, "My goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this," and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself, quote, into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side here, Erica Kirk's side. We have a duty to take responsibility for what we say and do. If we hire awful people, we're responsible for that. I have some experience there, as you might suspect. That means that if we offer a guest for your viewing, we owe it to you to ask the kinds of questions that actually get at the truth. If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes,
see what I mean? The girls are fighting. And it's explicitly along these lines. Can you allow someone who is outright embracing Nazism into your circles of civility if you're a Republican? And a shocking number of Republicans are saying yes.
You know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the Vice President of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote, retarded...
That's a racial slur, by the way. Don't say that. Don't repeat that one.
...idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers.
Again, apologies for saying fuck, but no apologies for the racial slur.
If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it. There is a reason that...
Yeah, Ben Shapiro has, for a long time, been okay with Nazis. It's not uncommon knowledge that, Ben Shapiro is willing to work alongside Nazis as long as they're willing to play ball and play by his rules, And the issue is they're not playing by his rules anymore. And that is a pretty big problem for... the entire movement, really. Let me pull up something real quick here. Here we are. So, fun fact. So you know how Ben Shapiro is taking a hardline stance against these, these wretched refuses like Nick Fuentes, these Holocaust deniers, these neo-Nazis, if you will, You guys are aware that's the entire purpose of his speech here. Well, fun fact, back in 2014, Ben Shapiro was a guest on a show. And in order to promote his book, Primetime Propaganda, the Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV. And, yeah, let's just play a little clip.
Hello, this is Lana. With all the programs you have to choose from, thanks for listening to mine. Sit back and relax because this will be a quick 35 minutes. My guest Ben Shapiro is a conservative political commentator, radio talk show host, attorney, and media consultant. He's appeared on hundreds of mainstream radio and television shows around the nation. Ben is 30 yet has already written 5 books, one of which we'll be discussing. Primetime Propaganda, the true Hollywood story of how the left took over your TV. We'll discuss the political agenda of Hollywood. Later on, Ben comments on the disproportionate amount of Jews in positions of power in Hollywood who are liberal and secular. And after you've listened to this program, I highly encourage you to listen to Kevin McDonald's interview with Henrik on Red Ice Radio, if you haven't already, to add another perspective. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I've never seen you on the alternative media circuit before, so we're glad to have you.
Yeah, I used to do it a little bit more often, but now that the baby's been born, she's taking up all my time with spitting up and being cute and not sleeping. So
tell us a bit.
Yeah, so this is about a 35-minute long show. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Radio 314 and Red Ice TV, it's a neo-Nazi white supremacist network. It is quite literally a neo-Nazi channel that was so neo-Nazi, it got banned off of YouTube and Facebook. Geez, I've never heard of it. At its height, it had over 300,000 subscribers. But yeah, basically they had Ben Shapiro on as a useful idiot to talk about how, you know, the Jews control Hollywood and everything on your TV. Because Ben Shapiro has always been happy to work with fascists and Nazis as long as he felt he could control them and manipulate them into being dupes who could juice his audience numbers. And that has been true up until very recently. And now this schism is happening because he has fostered the audience he has fostered by doing stuff like this.
Lauren Wiska was on it.
Yeah, Lauren Witzke was on it. This Lana person who hosts this particular program is someone who is actively recruited for white nationalist communities and tried to do homeschooling programs to instill white nationalism into children. She has denied the Holocaust and also denied the genocide of indigenous Americans and indigenous peoples broadly across the globe. Why work with someone that hates you? Because he thinks that he can use them. And up until now, he's largely been correct. But now, this fight is going to threaten the very foundations of the Republican Party. And that's a big problem. That's why he went to Turning Point USA today to try to essentially get them kicked out. Get these subversive elements kicked out that he has always been happy to embrace. And it turns out, well, might not be that easy.
Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests. Because we have...
And the thing is here, Ben Shapiro is telling the truth at this point and is, I think, openly and honestly angry about, you know, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and, you know, this overt anti-Semitism rising in the party. It threatens his ability to continue doing what he does. You know, like, he's in danger of being ousted into that out group, you know, into that realm of the quartering and shit. Like, there's a reason why the Daily Wire, their only major thing coming up is the Pendragon cycle. It's because they're practically done. This is the Pendragon cycle is their like Hail Mary to try and stay solvent. And I don't think it's going to work.
A duty to truth. We also have a duty to provide you with evidence of the claims that we make. Emotive accusations, conspiracy theories, and just guessing questions, that's lazy and stupid and misleading. None of them are a substitute for truth. None of them are a substitute for evidence. So, when Candace Owens says, "I don't know, but I know," that is retarded. And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
I see things differently from Ben Shapiro. I gotta tell you, whilst I respect him, I respect his faith.
Oh no! Ben Shapiro has lost Russell Brand. However, will Dave Rubin respond to this? One of the actual friends on the Actual Friends podcast.
And I respect that we worship and praise the same God. I recognize that. But I believe it's important and vital to have conversations with people that oppose difficult opinions and opposing opinions. I've spoken to Nick Fuentes, I've spoken to Candace Owens. They're Christians like you and like me, and were they not? They're broken human beings like you, like me, like Ben Shapiro, like Tucker Carlson. No one's better than anyone else. We're all on our knees, shoulder to shoulder, under the blood of Christ. And what I would advocate for is supreme compassion for Erica Kirk as a human being, as a woman, as a mother that's lost her husband, as a woman who has to like, I left my kids to come here today, man. Like my little boy who's 2, my little boy whose carved heart led me by the hand to Christ, that little boy that I handed over to hold on a minute, I can do this. Anesthetist. Someone here with your accent? Anesthetists. People that do, oh, let's just cut this bit. It's not being streamed live, is it? No one cares about this. Everyone's just like, did you see what Ben Shapiro said about Tucker? And then...
God, his face is truly unspeakable. Also, can we just like take a moment and be like, it's really gross that they have Russell Brand like even acceptably on stage at this point. Aren't there a bunch of sexual assault charges against Russell Brand? And wow, yes, there are actually. In fact, there are 2 new ones from UK prosecutors as of 7 hours ago. So, the Desperate Distraction Tour is not working for him.
And then Tucker's gonna, oh my God, man, oh man! Well, honestly...
Look, he's just really excited that people aren't talking about how he is allegedly a rapist several times over.
Very poor, on-brand, marketing.
Indeed, Sakate Tanuki. Thank you for the 5 Tier 1 subs, and Merry Christmas to you.
I can't believe that Tucker Carlson would have an interview with somebody and not grab them by the throat, frankly. We're children of God. No one knows anything.
This is like such an unhinged... Like, I'm sorry, if you saw like someone who wasn't famous acting like this, you would just assume they're a lunatic and that you should not be anywhere near them. Like, he's laughing manically, he's like doing impressions and then talking about children of God. Like, dude feels like he's about to offer you some Kool-Aid and you're in an armed compound.
Anything. You're broken, I'm broken, Ben Shapiro's broken. We're all wrecked and ruined.
We're all wrecked and ruined, so we shouldn't be rushing to judgment if there are some new allegations that surface against some of us in a handful of hours.
Christianity has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. We have not yet tried to create the Christian nation that America may yet become. As an Englishman, as a visitor, I pray that you're able to do it. I pray that you can build a Christian America to be a shining city on a hill, an exemplar for the rest of the world. I pray that in the name of the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. As C.S. Lewis says, that the connection between the holy and humility is humor. We must be able to laugh. Otherwise, I'm English. How am I going to cope with the embarrassment of knowing?
Did his shirt get more unbuttoned since the previous? No, I guess it was pretty unbuttoned before. Like, you know, it's pretty interesting to see Turning Point USA talk about the need for modesty in modern women, but then a guy gets up on stage with every single button unbuttoned all the way down to his crotch, and like they're just all for it. They do not give a fuck. These heretical, like, hypocrites do not give a fuck about their own doctrine. They just care about doing the team sports that allow them to hate the other side. That's it.
America to be a shining city on a hill, an exemplar for the rest of the world. I pray that in the name of the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit. As C.S. Lewis says, that the connection between the holy and humility is humor. We must be able to laugh. Otherwise, I'm English. How am I going to cope with the embarrassment of knowing, I know Candace Owens. I believe her to be a good person. Erica Kirk deserves love and respect and reverence as a grieving widow and endless compassion. I know Tucker Carlson. He's my friend. I love him. Ben Shapiro. I respect him a great deal. I don't know him like super well. But I'm English. I could explode with embarrassment without a sense of humor.
What does that mean? Is there something inherently embarrassing about being English? Why would you explode with embarrassment without a sense of humor? I don't understand.
From the stuff that's happened in this room already tonight. And what we have to find...
Oh, okay. Like, just everything that's happened is so embarrassing, he wants to explode, but he doesn't because he can make jokes about it. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like you're exploding from embarrassment.
Is a kind of unity, not only among conservative pundits, but between Americans everywhere, Republicans and Democrats.
Why can't we have unity? Really amongst ourselves. This is very uncomfortable for me.
Phony false labels, these fake taxonomies have to be put aside if you are going to save your country and the world. And one way to do that might be by laughing about it. I hope so, otherwise I'm out of a job.
This is the last event.
Wait, does he still think his job is comedian? Wait, does Russell Brand still think of himself or bill himself as a comedian? Is that true? Like, why? I don't know. I have never heard of people referring to Russell Brand as like particularly funny in this era of his life. That's crazy. I've watched his podcast. It is dry and boring and gross.
That Charlie will have left us. That hit me this morning, and as I was flying out here. This is the last one. He planned out his tour, he wrote his book, and this is the last one. The people on this stage, and the many more people in the seats, all of you are the people that he invited. This is the team. This is the army, right here. You might not like some of the people that he brought onto the team. You might prefer that he invited some people that he excluded from the team. But this is it. And whatever you think, the leftists who perpetrated, excused, justified, and celebrated Charlie's assassination may...
Who perpetrated? Wait a minute. We haven't gotten any updates on that case in months. That's literally at the heart of all this conspiracy mongering. Interesting, Michael. You seem to have taken a side.
Make no distinctions between any of us, any of the people in this room. We are all the same to them. The baby boomers will soon exit the political stage. Younger generations will take charge, and the youngest political generation, the Zoomers, will demand solutions to the specific political problems they face in employment, in housing, in a fraying social order. We need to give them answers. They deserve answers, and they are the future of this country, and if the conservative movement is to have any future, it needs to bring them in. Conservatives... A lot of Zoomers in the audience, I see.
Yeah, I'm a Zoomer. I zoom real good.
Can either confront these new challenges with humility and patience, hearing each other out and refining our message and our vision to match our moment, or each faction can demand all or nothing, retreat to its corner, mumble the same old shibboleths, and hand the country over to the people who would destroy us all together. The worst thing about assassination is that it works. Some people really matter, and it matters when you take them out. And I pray that this will be the exception. I pray that the right can sort out its differences with patience and grace and plot a path forward that leads us all to victory. That we are all here together at this moment, Christmas time, looking ahead to the new year, all together looking ahead to the future of this country at a crucial moment, is an opportunity and a blessing. And I am reminded that blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.
You know, this seems like an interesting and poignant time to really point out that it does seem, you know, a lot of people are saying, making jokes about Grindr going down during this event, their gaydar going off, and like, let me just, yeah, let's just take a quick look here. Grindr apparently experienced more outages via down detector during Turning Point's America Fest. So you know, it's interesting. It's some interesting stuff. You know, I don't know. I don't know for sure that anything happened with more outages for Grindr, but there were some more reports of outages around that time. So you know, it's interesting.
And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. I hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. The last several months of Charlie.
Can I just say, there are very few people whose voices irritate me quite as much as Tucker Carlson's. Like, dude's a fake, affected laugh drives me nuts. I find him like practically unlistenable because of his like manic giggling fits. Like it's not fun and it's not cute. And like, yeah. Oh yeah, no, they fought on stage at the same event, guys. Like this all occurred during Turning Point USA.
His life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly and in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul. And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them, and that they someday may be asked to denounce you, and that friendship is not a reason to defend someone. Love is no defense. I kind of thought we'd reached the end of that. And as far as I'm concerned, we have. And I'm not going to play by those rules. I'm not going to engage in that. If someone doesn't like what I think, fine with me, as long as I get to express it. That's my view. But let me just say something more broadly about where the conservative movement, whatever that is, the people who voted for Trump,
See, the thing that Tucker Carlson has mastered is how to be boring as fuck in a way that specifically tickles the lizard brain of a conservative. You know, like, he shies away from making many definitive statements about provable fact. And he instead says things like the conservative movement, whatever that is, as if like, yeah, no one knows what that is. It's really loosey goosey. If you make it loosey goosey, then like one of the side effects of making it loosey goosey is folks like Nick Fuentes can squeeze in, because you loosen the definition. Maybe it includes open anti-Semites. Who can say?
Trump coalition and the supposed civil war going on within that group. I don't think it's real. I think it's fake. I think it's totally fake.
Loosey-goosey steps, indeed, YouTuber Grudge.
I don't think, and I've had cause to think a lot about this because I've been unwittingly involved in the proxy war. There are two things going on here, and I'm not guessing. One is jockeying for position post-Trump. So Trump created this amazing coalition, bringing in people who had never voted Republican before but were very enthusiastic about him. And that coalition took over the most powerful government in the history of the world. So there's a lot at stake here. And so the question becomes, who gets to run it after? Who gets the machinery when the president exits the scene?
And like, yeah, this is why we're paying attention to it. It's fun that they're fighting, but we need to know kind of what the next phase of the boss fight we're up against is gonna be, right? And whoever emerges with more political capital, with more public support from this conflict is gonna be the people who run the Republican machinery. I'm hoping, weirdly, I'm rooting for Ben Shapiro in this fight because the open embracing of Nazism and authoritarianism and anti-Semitism is going to be mainstream something truly, truly ugly into our society. Yeah, which way, Western conservative, the Groyper route, or back to neoconservatism? No, you guys don't hear a sound? Cool. Odd question. Do you have a pick? I mean, my pick is, I guess I would prefer, the devils we know who are proving themselves woefully ineffective in this current time. Ben Shapiro's on the decline. Like, people aren't interested in what conservatives of that ilk are selling anymore, but it's worrisome that the divide is growing more stark and that they can build up a bigger coalition with out-and-out bigots now. Like, that's worrying. And I don't want it to go in that direction.
And there are a lot of people in Washington, maybe even in this room, who aren't quite sure what they want, but they know they don't want J.D. Vance. And so the attack, and you heard it from the stage tonight, there's someone here who's a very bad...
Which is an interesting thing to say right after Turning Point USA endorsed J.D. Vance for the next president of the United States.
Bad man, and he's friends with J.D. Vance. Could be me. I'm sad about being used in a proxy war over politics in which I'm not involved in any level. I'm not an advisor to anybody. But I just think I should say that out.
Is there a reason I'm unable to super chat? Genuinely none that I know of. I haven't messed with any settings. You should be able to.
Out loud, okay? There are people who are mad at J.D. Vance, and they're stirring up a lot of this in order to make sure he doesn't get
Oh, fresh pepperino. I'll bring it up with my editor and see how we can tweak my audio.
The nomination. So this is true. So this raises the obvious question, which is, why are they mad at J.D. Vance? Such a nice guy, which he is. They're mad at J.D. Vance because he is the one person, and things could change, of course, but right now, who really kind of buys the core idea of the Trump coalition. Now, what is that idea? Ladies and gentlemen, anyone know? Anyone know? America first. It's America first. It's really simple. Which I notice some people are pretty anxious to retire that phrase. Remember when they told us? That's a bigoted phrase. Really?
As a slogan in American political discourse, America First originated from the nativist American Party in the 1850s. The motto has been used by both Democratic and Republican politicians in the United States. At the outbreak of World War I, President Woodrow Wilson used the slogan to define his version of neutrality, as did newspaper publisher William Randolph Hearst. The motto was also chosen by Republican Senator Warren G. Harding during the 1920 presidential election, which he won. Now, why on earth would anyone consider this a bigoted phrase? She said, about to read the second paragraph. The Ku Klux Klan used the phrase at the organization's peak in the 1920s when racist, xenophobic sentiment was widespread. It informed many of their members who ran for political office. The Immigration Act of 1924, sponsored by Washington U.S. Representative Albert Johnson, was a legislative expression of xenophobia. It targeted Japanese, Eastern, and Southern European immigrants by excluding them on the basis of ethnicity and national origin in an effort to preserve the country's existing ethnic demographics. Johnson's leading role in immigration restriction bill elicited strong support from the KKK because, again, America First is the slogan of white nationalists and racists, people who want to maintain the WASP nature of America. Like, I don't know, it's a pretty well situated phrase for, it's bigotry. Also, I Can't Give It, Duck. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs and for the gifted sub to the Anti-Fascist Social Club. Appreciated.
And then they just decided to ignore it in favor of MAGA, Make America Great Again, which I'm obviously for. But how do you make America great again? By putting America first. Now, what does that mean? I'll be more precise. It's not a complicated concept. It's a really simple concept. The U.S. government, the largest organization in human history with the most well-funded military in history, ought to, in all the decisions it makes, put the interests of American citizens first. That's it. By the way, your politics do not trump my love for other people. I remember my brother once said, I have one brother who's my best friend, and he once said something lunatic, as brothers do. And I remember all these reporters, one from the Washington Post, which used to be a newspaper in Washington, calling me and being like, will you denounce your brother? I said, son, if my brother went on a drug-related murder spree, I would not denounce him. What? Are you for drug-related murder sprees? No, I'm for my brother. And nothing will ever make me not for my brother. Not probably.
Oh, just as an FYI, the incident he's talking about so vaguely, as he does talk about everything, is that his brother said that the massacre at Bondi Beach in Australia was a false flag. His brother started spreading conspiracy theories that the Australian government did Bondi Beach themselves to control the masses or whatever. So, yeah. Let me just see if I can get the quote here. Let's see. Buckley Carlson took to social media to comment on the anti-Semitic massacre, insinuating that victims' injuries were faked and key details were fabricated. He reposted a comment which claimed that Zionist networks and intelligence staged shooting incidents, described the attack in Sydney as theater, and argued that the terrorism will become pretext for new speech restrictions regarding anti-Semitism. I mean, like, he's out there. He's certainly out there posting, just out there posting like crazy when your ego betrays the op.
Tell him no more drug-related murder sprees for you. I'm not for that. I'm not for a lot of things, actually. But I will never, ever denounce people I love to satisfy the mob. Right? I mean, it's crazy. So as you think through, like, what should this movement be and what side should you take on the conservative civil war? You already know the answer. You're on the side of America first. And if they can't tell you why it's America first, you just won the argument because they don't have one. Shut up, Nazi is no different from shut up, racist.
Now, I will say something right here, which is that one of the things we are going to have to do when engaging with Republican rhetoric from here on out is it's no longer going to be sufficient for us to just be like, these people are bigots and, like, evil.
I've often said that conservatives don't have morality, they have sides, but TC outright admitting that he would let his brother KLL people is a lot.
I mean, it is, right? Like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting on like a moral and intellectual level. And the thing that I think we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get a little bit more in the weeds to explain why some of these things are bad. And that's something I've always endeavored to do on this channel. And I think that I do a pretty decent job at pointing out, hey, this is the historical context to this phrase that was widely used by the KKK and the people they ran in political races in the 1920s, and is one of the slogans used to justify things like the internment of the Japanese Americans during World War II. You know, like we're talking about like specific things that this phrase is associated with historically. And I think we need to start like getting into the details and into the weeds about why these things are bad, because Republicans coming from this type of intellectual background are not going to have any arguments. We're going to be getting to this later, but Candace Owens also starts getting into some rewriting of history, and it's not going to be sufficient to just say, oh, she's wrong, without like explaining how she's wrong. And so we're going to need to do more explanations, I think. So I just want you guys to know, if I get more into the weeds as we go into 2026 and beyond, it's going to be because I think that perhaps we've been overestimating how much people actually know about these events, about this context. Some of us may have gotten that education, but a lot of us probably got it through warped lenses from compromised curriculum and, homeschooling bullshit. And so I think we'll have to get more into the weeds. We'll talk about more of this stuff as it comes up. And again, I would really like to, maybe in the new year, I'll plan like some recurring shows to talk about different historical moments and events. I think that'd be fun. All right, but let's keep going through this. Is this guy supposed to be charismatic? He's like the best that they got in the conservosphere. Like he's the one who is like whispering to the anti-Semites and like keeping them on a leash, while also straddling the line into kind of the Ben Shapiro world. And he's large enough that he can do that while maintaining an audience. He's unique in that way.
It's a little more annoying, actually.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of.
No, we're good. We don't need you, Glenn Beck. It's fine. That was a nice little look at a lot of these different aspects and elements that are at play here. And I do want to say, I think we can skip Erica Kirk's remarks. I think you guys got an idea of what happened. I think we're gonna, in a future segment, take a look at Ben Shapiro's speech in full. But let's take a look at how some of the greatest intellectual titans we know of on the right are responding to what happened at America Fest. Okay, because obviously it's not just like, the folks trying to profit or cash in on this. It's also the true intellectual heavyweights. And of course, I'm talking about the Patrick Bet David podcast.
Fest event sold out. They shared some numbers.
This is what top tier brains look like, guys. Just the smartest men in politics right here. Look at their shoes. They're ugly, ugly shoes. Only $600 a pair.
Numbers of what happened, some record-breaking numbers that I believe Erica shared with the entire audience of what's happened with new chapters, what's happened with people joining, what's happened with, the amount of new kids that have gotten involved in the entire organization. Let me see if I can pull up this number here to give you some. Do you are unbelievable?
Sorry. Let's let's not get carried away. We don't know that about Patrick Bet David for sure.
Unbelievable of what she was sharing with everybody in the audience. Do you have that, Rob, or no? Anyways, it was like 1 million kids joined, 3,000 new chapters created around the world. The amount of money that was, sent in from people around the world, just record-breaking all across the board.
I have it.
You have it? Is this her giving the update?
Yep.
Right there. Zoom in a little bit, Rob. Okay. That's actually not Barron Trump. It's just accounts called Barron Trump News. Erica just dropped her numbers. 50.
The account is called Barron Trump News. Yeah, let's not fact check that. Let's just take that as faith on faith.
TPUSA chapters opening every day. 8,000 plus church partnerships. 140,000 requests to join. 1 million students involved. 3,000 Club America chapters. 1,400 college.
Look, who better to talk about the quality of the grift than the pyramid scheme guy? Yeah, the MLM guy.
Chapters. I mean, this is extremely impressive. Now, can they keep the momentum going or not? There's a lot of people that behind closed doors are going to be doing everything in their power to make sure this momentum continues. But it's going to rise and fall all on leadership. Rob, what speeches? Is this Erica giving a speech?
This is her talking about those numbers.
What else do you have? Let's go with the Ben Shapiro one. So Ben Shapiro gets.
Let's skip the numbers that we've been talking about. We don't look. Numbers are hard. All right, guys. Let's get to the drums.
Up, and I watched the entire speech, and it was a straight up call out. It wasn't like he came up. It was all intentional. It was all written. It was all clear, and it was targeted at mainly 3 people, but mainly 2 people. Okay. And here's Ben Shapiro. Go ahead, Rob.
So, for example,
I think we can skip watching this again. We just watched it. Let's just go.
Then, and we know who Ben is calling out. Like, it's not even funny who it's called. It's clear.
He could have just I don't know if we have the clips. He directly called out Candace multiple times by name, called out Tucker several times, and obviously there was Nick Fuentes. Those sort of the big 3 you were referring to, Pat?
Yes.
So Candace was probably the biggest recipient of his
Probably, but I think the leader of the call out is Tucker. Is who he's calling out. So then this is Tucker. Go for it.
Because Tucker was there, Candace wasn't, right?
Yes, go for it.
I just got.
Okay, we don't need to regurgitate that again.
Tucker gives a speech. Ben gives his speech. You've heard both of them. Where are you at?
So the basic premise of Ben's speech is that truth matters.
Bro, what is happening with your suit jacket? Why is it tenting back there? I don't think I've ever seen that. What is happening?
And we all know that the World Economic Forum came out and said that the biggest concern in the world right now is misinformation and disinformation. And he basically called out certain people for peddling myth truths, untruths, semi-truths, and then operating under the guise of,
Okay. The caption said myth truth. Is a myth truth like just a mythical truth, or is it? Were you trying to say mistruth? Genuinely, I don't know. Like, these people make up buzzwords all the damn time.
Just asking questions. So to me, Ben was very clear, very direct. I was never a huge Ben Shapiro guy, and I was certainly never a big Tucker guy. But between both of them, they're legends. We get it. To me, this comes down to one word: midterms. Who is helping coalesce, build a coalition around 11 months from now? We're going to have another election. And are you helping bring people together to win midterms, to help Donald Trump and his agenda, or are you trying to tear it down? So there's a lot of infighting within MAGA, and there's a lot of people on the left that would love to see Nick Fuentes and Candace and even Tucker be the face of the new MAGA establishment party. And in my opinion, Charlie Kirk wants no part of it. The last thing that I'll say is this.
Man, it's so convenient to all of them that they can just put words into Charlie's mouth now. It's like they basically have the AI version of him ready to go in their minds. And they're just like, yeah, no, AI Charlie would never say that. AI Charlie would clearly say, insert something I agree with.
Ben said one thing, and I said it the other day, about what the Torah says about criticizing a grieving widow. Erica Kirk asked Candace to stop. Candace went on Piers Morgan and she said, I'm not going to stop. As if she's the FBI and she's leading this investigation. So to me, at the very least, I'll say this. Ben is the same person he's been for 20 years that we've seen him on air. Tucker has flip-flopped and he's fake. And now, because he's an American, he goes and buys a property in Qatar, not in Detroit, not in Dallas, not in Boston, not in American cities. He's buying a house in Qatar. And why? Because he's American. God bless you, Tucker.
Vinny.
Well, the WEF, I don't know that we were going to, the World Economic Forum, I don't know we're going to be going by their guidance when it comes to disinformation and misinformation.
Fresh Pepperino, thank you for subscribing with Prime over on Twitch. I appreciate you.
Everything that they push from global warming, fake disinformation for COVID, and now we're finding out that, people are having cancer and kids are.
Guys, I'm not able to look at Vinny the same way ever again after finding out he's supposed to be the funny one. Like, you guys remember that, right? It wasn't like a fever dream where we went and we found that there's like a valuetainment comedy channel where he's in charge of making the comedy skits. I didn't hallucinate that, right? That was real. Valuetainment comedy? Oh my god, it is real. It has almost 1 million subscribers. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. Oh god. It's still the same. Yeah, he makes all of their comedy videos. Yeah, there's a joke-off battle. Just real quick, can we survive?
Action. Daniel? Vincent? You ready to have a joke-off?
Yeah.
All right. You go first.
So wait, loser gets a wedgie?
Like, hold on. I mean a good, deep.
Oh, no, dude.
Okay. No, we're going to do it right there.
I've been thinking about my dead parents and dead
Good. Why don't oysters donate to charity?
Why?
Because they're shellfish. Touche.
Light work.
Okay.
I asked
Something tells me, guys, that Vinny didn't write these jokes himself.
my son what he learned in school today. He said...
What? You don't even have a kid. What's the joke, though? What's the joke? I already lost this one.
I asked my son what he learned in school today.
Okay.
He said, gay men like Sony, lesbians favor Yamaha, and transgender people prefer Bose. Personally, I don't like this school at all. Those are just a bunch of stereotypes.
The setup was better than the actual joke.
Somehow.
Okay.
I will express one moment of shock here. We're gonna go back to the other stuff we were watching, but I will express a moment of shock. Is that a conservative inventing a new joke? Guys, did we just watch a conservative come up with a new joke? They only have one joke. They only had the one joke about trans people identifying as attack helicopters. And now they have 2 jokes. And you know what? That one wasn't even offensive, really. I wasn't offended. That's crazy. It's not like an attack on like trans people existing. Yeah, like it's weird. We expected the bigotry, and instead it was just it was just like a joke about types of stereo sound, which like not bad. Like, not bad. I don't believe either of these men wrote these jokes, though. I don't believe either of them wrote these jokes. Anyway, let's get back to what we were actually talking about. I'm glad that the Valuetainment comedy channel is real and I didn't hallucinate it. But I do want to remind you all this channel is very not funny. Oh, hey, there's another when HR is the problem video.
Okay, so just take a deep breath, take your time, tell me what happened.
Well, I was sitting at my desk working on reports, and then Henry just comes up behind me and starts massaging my neck.
Son of a bitch! I'm sorry. Are you serious?
Yes.
So let me get this straight. He just casually walked up on you like this and just started rubbing your shoulders like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna pull the ripcord on this one. Eject. Yeah, that's the typical Vinny tier of comedy on the show.
Are having heart problems and people are dying and they lied to us. So I don't take any heed to the World Economic Forum. But if we're trying to Worry
Are you
about
saying that misinformation and disinformation isn't
comes
a
from
thing?
that. No, of course. It's your job to go out there and look. That's why nobody trusts the media. That's why nobody trusts the government. Nobody trusts anybody. It's your job to go and look and find the information and fact check everything that you talk about. Just like how I did earlier in the show. My thing is this, Adam. If we're worrying about the midterm,
I'm really glad they have this funny comedian on the show to lighten the mood.
why would Ben Shapiro go up in front of Turning Point USA, in front of everybody, the youth, I want motivation. I want something, because the real enemy is the left. It's the Gavin Newsoms. It's the AOCs. It's all those people. Instead of using that 20 minutes to unite and say, guys, with all the differences, that's the mission. That's the enemy. You're going to talk shit about 2 other people and 3 other people and just bash everybody.
Yeah, because they're inviting Nazis into the party, man. Like out and out Nazis. Like guys who say Hitler didn't do anything wrong and the Holocaust isn't real. Like, yeah, once you allow those people into the party, like, you're done. Like, that's what he's trying to prevent. Because also, here's the trick that they might not tell you in conservative circles. The entire midterms are already lost for conservatives. Ben Shapiro is coming out to Turning Point USA right now, perhaps in the hope that they can, if they have the break right now, it can be repaired and, the wrongdoers ostracized by the time the 2026 midterms roll around. But more realistically, Ben Shapiro is trying to break things now so that by the time the general rolls around in 3 years, they can have their shit together. A lot of the Republican power brokers have already given up the midterms for lost. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene is getting out of Dodge. That's why a bunch of Republican legislators aren't seeking re-election in 2026.
Okay?
The crowd seemed to like it. They were cheering.
Half and half, whatever, boos and claps. I don't know. I wasn't there. It's just, that's your moment that Charlie fought for people to have debate. Charlie's whole mission was debate, talk.
No, Charlie's mission wasn't debate and talk.
Ben Shapiro's coming out to Turning Point? Congratulations, Brett Cooper.
You know what, Sake?
I am very proud of the mental horsepower you have.
Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I hate to say it, I don't think Ben is stupid so much as wrong. Ben isn't stupid. That's the thing. Ben isn't stupid. I don't think his arguments are good. But he's not stupid. He knows where his bread is buttered. He knows, this is an existential threat to his ability to be within the Republican Party. Because if the Republican Party goes full anti-Semite, which it is currently threatening to do, he's out of a job.
Not deplatforming. He went to college campuses and said, okay, give me your argument. Not, I don't want to hear you and I want you. I think
also, again, they went to these college campuses. This isn't a new thing. Conservatives would go to college campuses to debate children in order to try and make their points look good. Because when you debate unprepared children and students, as opposed to, say, experts in their field, it's really easy to try, clip yourself looking good and dunking on these random students who may or may not be prepared for this and who probably don't have media training. This isn't like a crucible of the best idea emerged. No, he's deliberately doing it as an op to spread propaganda. That's why they did that in 2016 and 2015. It's why they're doing it now. And it's why Charlie Kirk was doing it. And that's not an embracing of debate. That's using debate as a propaganda tool. And there's a difference.
It's awesome that people are talking, that he talked to Nick Fuentes, that can't, let him talk. Let him sit in front of Steven Crowder and say his point. I learned more about him through his podcast than I ever knew about Nick Fuentes. I don't think that if you want to unite and worry about the midterms, that's not the way to do it. Okay? And then Tucker had to...
Yeah, because they're not uniting for the midterms. Yeah.
Take his time out of his message and go against him too. And by the way, I don't trust, when it comes to Tucker buying stuff in Qatar, that's the most random weirdest thing that didn't make any sense. I'm American, but I'm going to buy land as a Christian. He's openly devout Christian in a Muslim land. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Plenty of Christians own land in Muslim countries. Christians exist in predominantly Muslim countries. I don't, like, it's insane to think that they don't. Like, it's actually flabbergasting to me that these guys are like, you can't be a Christian and own land in a Muslim country, Fivehead. Okay. All right.
Somebody might be getting paid, but I just feel with everything that's happening, they missed the freaking mark. This should have been about America and the actual enemy because the Democrats are laughing their asses off. Period. That's my opinion.
By the way, a very reasonable take you just gave.
Thank you.
Very reasonable take. Tom, your thoughts?
So my thoughts is Charlie Kirk, I agree with your debate point. Charlie Kirk will go into the belly of the beast, go and put up that card table and put up that tent on college campuses and attempt to, and they say, what do you think about it? No, come here. I'll listen to you. Tell me what you think. Now, why do you think that? Why do you think that? Well, I think there's an economist here, and I think this is here. And he would engage in this civil debate that was getting people to think. And he was personally responsible for delivering Arizona and more. We saw him at the inauguration, and he gave us the numbers. They registered to vote more than 300,000 new voters in Arizona. And if you take a look and just say 60% of those, just 60, not more than that. No, you know it has to be more than that. But let's just put 60% of those votes voted for Trump, 47. Guess what? He moved Arizona. Kerry Lake was in a war. You saw what was going on with that guy, Ruben Gallegos, whatever his name is. There was a war going on. It was neck and neck. There was all kinds of things. The governor was ignoring what was happening in terms of in these neighborhoods in Tucson where you had these immigrants that had come across.
The worst part is I wish the Dems were so cool as to be laughing at them.
Right. Also, this guy is supposed to be their intellectual heavyweight, and none of this has anything to do with what this conflict.
And he knows how to work the stage. He's talented. He's capable. Ben is brilliant. But Tucker is talented and capable. Tucker went emotion. Tucker went heart. Tucker talked love. He mentioned the word love 20 times. Ben is purely logic. Okay, is what he's going to. So, talent-wise, Tucker's a better talent of delivering the message. Not a question about it. Okay, more educated, read all this stuff. Maybe you put Ben there ahead of him. You know, he probably knows more about the Constitution and things like that. Yeah, you can put that category in there. Where was Ben right? The part that Ben was right in when he said, you know, even Charlie.
I'm just gonna say it right straight up. The Patrick Bet-David crew, they're cowards. They're just straight up cowards where they're trying to be like, both sides have some merit. Maybe we could do a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and everything would turn out just right. Kumbaya, everybody. Look, you just got to sing some Kumbaya with Nazis, all right? It's fine.
Reached out to Dinesh and said, why would you debate Nick Fuentes? Because in the debate between Dinesh and Nick won. I don't know if you guys saw the debate or not. Nick was a winner.
Oh, man. Wowee. You mean somebody beat Dinesh D'Souza? The guy who makes documentaries full of lies? I'm shocked.
Came out the winner of that debate between the two of them, and Dinesh came out as the older guy that I know what I'm talking about. You don't know who you are. You're a kid. And so Charlie's like, what are you doing? So as much as Charlie is for debate, Charlie wasn't for everybody because Nick was a disruptor to him. So even Charlie had lines, okay, on who we would have. Nick didn't speak at the event, okay? Nick is never spoken at this event.
I don't think he'll ever be invited.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you is there's a reason why he didn't. So to that point, Ben has got a very, very good point on what he's saying with Charlie, okay, and what Candace and some of these other guys are doing with the topics. And then, by the way, you know who else Ben called out? Megyn Kelly. Ben also called out Megyn Kelly. There's a direct call out to Megyn Kelly. He says, look, I'm a big fan of Megyn Kelly, but even Megyn Kelly came out and said XYZ, and I'm not with that either. He says, what do you mean? You know, all she's doing is, I don't know, maybe she's going through stuff with mom and all this other stuff.
About Candace.
She's talking about Candace, yes. So I actually, I have to tell you, Ben came across as the more mature guy here, but it's like you're married to Ben, but you're attracted to Charlie.
Oh man, this just got so weird. You know, I think at this point we're pulling the ripcord on this Patrick Bet David segment. I think we can just end on that note. That's the level of analysis we're on. Like, which of these men do you want to put your lips on, and which of them do you want to put a ring on? You know what I'm saying? You know, you wanna marry that Charlie Kirk, but you wanna smooch that Ben Shapiro right on the mouth. Like, okay, all right. Patrick Bet David, didn't know you swung like that. Speaking of swinging like that,
we're here at America Fest. This is the largest, most energetic gathering of young conservatives in the country. This is the biggest one yet. It is completely
FNK, Nazi, Jazzy, Blazy.
No, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. I'm not doing that. Yeah, so we had a full 45-minute show at America Fest by Michael Knowles, where he goes over both of these speeches, and then like here is his response afterwards. All right, I think it goes to here we go.
Wants to murder us. They are perpetrating. We have to live together. Our nature inclines us to live in ordered societies. We can't get along with the left right now because the left wants to murder us. They are perpetrating murders against.
Yeah, the left wants to murder you. No, we don't. Sincerely, the left. But I do seem to recall that this man, like a year ago, got up on stage and said he wanted to eliminate transgenderism, which, I don't know, that sure sounds like a threat to my ability to continue to exist. I don't know about you guys, but I interpret that as a fundamental attack on my ability to exist. And I don't know. This seems like a threat from him to me, but I don't exchange that threat with a threat.
They're minimizing them, excusing them, even celebrating them. The justification for political violence on the left is only going up. Survey after survey shows it. Even liberal magazines show it. So we cannot get along as a country right now. The only way that we can get along as a country is if we keep winning and restore some order, and we de-radicalize the left. That means that we need to not just have the wins from 2024 and previously, we need to keep winning. We need to hold power for an extended period of time. The only way that we can do that is if we have a coalition that works. Obviously, we have to exclude people. All coalitions have borders, so we have to exclude the unjust, the cruel, vulgar hatreds based on race or sex or what have you. But
my God, man, we can't have people spreading vulgar hatred based on sex. Except that that's exactly what you do to transgender people, like nonstop. If you are not discriminating and spreading hatred on the basis of sex, like I'm sorry, it's exactly what you're doing, man. These fucking hypocrites.
I don't believe that you need to hold to some particular view of economics to be on the right. I don't believe that you have to adopt the slogans of 1983 or 2003, for that matter, on foreign policy or economics or the size of government in order to be on the right. My view is a little bit more expansive than that. And the proof of this, I think, is that the Republican Party was founded promoting tariffs. And then we hated tariffs, and now we like tariffs again. The GOP was opposed to immigration, then it liked immigration. Now it hates immigration again. We were the party of isolation, then we were the party of bombing the whole Middle East, and then we're the kind of the party of restraint again. And these changes are not evidence of hypocrisy. It's not evidence that we're rudderless. It's evidence that we understand what politics is, which is a practical science. It's not up in the ether. It's applying eternal principles to constantly changing circumstances, to being responsive. The left was
eternal principles. Except that I don't know. I feel like if you look back in time, those principles aren't so eternal. I don't know though. Just a humble country streamer. Do you not see the platinum level emote in front of you? I don't. I'm sorry.
Not responsive. The left got caught in its own disconnected ideologies. That's why they're getting blown out of the water at the ballot box. We need to continue to be responsive.
Look, it's not the only thing that Michael Knowles wants to blow out at the ballot box, if you know what I'm saying. If the rumors are true.
Especially as we're seeing a generational change. When President Trump leaves, assuming we don't change the Constitution, and he doesn't get his third, fourth, fifth, and sixth terms, when he leaves, the boomers exit the political stage. You're going to have potentially a millennial president. You got Zoomers coming up. Gen X is going to be the oldest guys in the game now. And so these shifts have to happen naturally. What is it that distinguishes us? We have to love our country. We have to recognize that there is an American people worth preserving. We have to be willing to contribute and sacrifice, and even sacrifice within our own coalition. I've never gotten applause on a live show before because Mr. Davies never applauds me, but that was very cool. He never applauds me, but that was cool. That's why we got to get a live audience in on this show all the time, Ben. You need all of those things. That's what makes up the right. And so I like having these fights here. There are going to be more fights over the coming
I like having these fights. Oh, God.
days. Then we need to unify. I don't want to see people taking their balls and going home. I don't want to see them retreating into their own factional corners.
He only likes the fights because he thinks he's going to win no matter how they shake out. He has no skin in the game. Ben Shapiro, on the other hand, clearly does not like these fights because he stands to lose some shit if they go against him.
Mumbling the same old shibboleths that have not been relevant in 15 years. I want to see people getting in, working together, keeping their eyes on the prize. That is a lasting and enduring legacy of Charlie Kirk, because a lot of people have opinions. It's easy to have an opinion. It's easy to mouth off. It's easy to fight with people. It's easy to defame or detract or anything in the middle. But what's very hard is to build, to assuage, to refine, to have the patience to suffer setbacks, to work toward a goal, and to win, to have the courage to actually win, to stake something morally and go out.
Goddamn sake. Ew.
Out there, take the victories, build on the victories, and build a better country. Very, very hopeful at the end of the first day of America Fest, especially because of all these beautiful, smart, serious conservatives.
They're so sexy. I hope they're down at the ballot box when I'm there, if you know what I'm saying.
I was just jonesing for more applause. I want to get to much, much more momentarily, but first, I want to tell you about PragerU. Go.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go into the ad read.
Go to prageru.com/DW. America, as we all know, is approaching our 250th birthday. This should be a time of celebration.
I had forgotten that PragerU had allied itself with Daily Wire. I had totally forgotten about this. All right, cool. Thanks, Michael Knowles. You really contributed there, champ. Now, of course, within all of this, we did recently cover Candace Owens, right? And Candace Owens and Erica Kirk had a bit of like a sit down prior to America Fest, where they had a little bit of a summit. It was supposed to be kind of like a peace talk, a peace summit. In the aftermath of it, Candace Owens put out a live stream where she talked about the experience and seemed to kind of like move away from attacking Turning Point USA and pivot to attacking, there's really no other way of saying it, the Jewishness of Ben Shapiro. Like that seemed to be her move, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. But that is not to say that she is done attacking Turning Point USA. Here she is just a couple days ago responding to a clip of Tim Dillon calling Turning Point USA a bad reality show. Let's just watch this clip.
This Turning Point kind of abomination that the right wing of this country has turned into like a bad reality show. And it's all of the fault of everyone, by the way. It's the fault of everyone speaking and everyone attending, and there's nobody that gets everything about this is weird and uncomfortable for everyone. And I'm not saying she killed her husband or knew about it or whatever. I'm saying the guy got shot 3 months ago. and she walks out to a pyrotechnic display, and then she goes, "We're going to elect J.D. Vance." It's weird that that's where her head is at.
I mean, I agree with that. I will just say, for those who are unfamiliar with like the language of US-based megachurch productions, here, maybe I need to give you guys an example of what is kind of like a commonplace thing in American megachurches. I just saw like an example of this like yesterday. Let me pull it up. There is a level of pageantry you can't really understand unless you've experienced it, that is genuinely grotesque, I guess would be one way of putting it. This is the Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano, Texas, where seats are $70 a head, and this is their Christmas production.
Because this news was...
I've been using news entertainment during the Bakepocalypse. 26 dozen regular, 93 Lindor truffle stuffed cookies.
Yo!
I'm finally free. On another note, I own $300 at bingo, so here's cookie money for you.
Max Danger, congrats on your bingo win and on your delicious sounding cookies, and thank you for the $10 super chat. Merry Christmas to you. But yeah, the level of production. Those are real zebras. They got actual, honest-to-God zebras. So when I tell you that, in comparison, the group of people that they are going for with Turning Point USA are those people, are the people who turn out to a megachurch and spend $70 per seat in order to see a production like that. Like, they are going after the evangelical base. They aren't going after, like, the Nazi base necessarily. They're going after the evangelical megachurch base. And it's why Turning Point USA, like, has partnered with so many churches. It's why Erica Kirk walks out in pyrotechnics. It's why she's wearing, like, the golden suit jacket and stuff. I mean, like, the glitz and the glam is par for the course. If you guys have ever seen Righteous Gemstones, it might look like wacky excess that they're doing all these performances and they have all these like pyrotechnics and they have like all these theatrics involved. But I want to like let you guys know that those are small in comparison to what these actual megachurches have. And the audience for those megachurches expects production like that. I don't remember zebras being mentioned in they weren't. Back to Seth Dillon.
It's difficult for many people to relate to. It's not relatable for people that talked about how Hollywood isn't relatable and Hollywood is out of touch. This looks a lot like Hollywood to most people.
Jack, I think this is just tacky. Well, yeah, of course it's tacky, but like that's what the American evangelical base like has found acceptable, right? And also I would associate probably that a lot of Catholic and Orthodox churches use money to build cathedrals because the money isn't really theirs. Like, it's not theirs individually. Most of these mega churches are run by like families, like one specific pastor or one specific pastor family, and it's not part of a larger organization oftentimes. And so I think they they opt for cheaper glitz and glam that is temporary and delivers an experience to people rather than building long-lasting monuments to the religion.
And to go out through a stream of fireworks and sparklers and stand there in a glittering pantsuit and talk about electing J.D. Vance 3 months after your husband was killed, many people feel that there is something off about that. And we're starting to see that political people are the exact same thing as the Hollywood elites that they all love to dunk on. And we all look at this. This is Megan Thee Stallion twerking at the Kamala rally. This is deeply unsettling to a lot of people. It feels like you're being played. You feel it. It seems off. You feel...
Yeah, the vibes are bad. Like it's all... Like, this argument is largely going to be won or lost based on vibes. And unfortunately, that seems to be the direction it's going. Whose vibes seem more correct? Are the vibes of Tucker Carlson superior to the vibes of Ben Shapiro? I don't know. We have to feel him out, man.
Like this is a coordinated and choreographed spectacle so that you are played. They want your money.
And yeah, they do. They do want your money, but more importantly, they want your time and your effort. And in response to this, Candace Owens says, everyone was thinking it, Tim Dillon said it. It was out of touch and elite. It is not and will never be relatable for blue-collar workers to endure lectures from wealthy people telling them who is and is not evil. Recreating the tent Charlie died under for selfies? Seriously? And I'm going to also just say this about Candace Owens. It's very rich to hear Candace Owens talk about the out of touch and elite, and that blue-collar workers will never find it relatable to endure lectures from wealthy people telling them who is and is not evil, when Candace Owens literally married an English lord. She married into old money and like is also obscenely wealthy. Like, her entire job is lecturing blue-collar workers and duping them into becoming white nationalists. It's nuts. But okay, go off, Queen. Anyway, let's take a look here at her last live stream from a few days ago. So she has a big segment here titled Little Benny's Breakdown. Let's jump into this here. We're gonna jump through some of the clips. We're about maybe 9 minutes into this particular segment.
Instead, what they decided to do was humiliate me in front of all of the other employees by, rather than having a conversation, sort of dramatically having me exit after doing my show, not knowing that I was going to be fired. And then they had put together a stage in my studio and put up clips put together basically a whole package, like almost like a high school play, and conducted what I honestly, when I look back, because it recently leaked what happened at this quote unquote town hall, this is a slave hanging. This is a slave hanging, right? Gather around, everybody.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Also, yeah, her husband is George Farmer, who is the son of Michael Farmer, who is called the Baron Farmer, I guess. I think that's his title. And, you know, he was the former treasurer of the Conservative Party in the UK. So, you know.
He else is a slave. And let me tell you how this one messed up. Gather around and watch us whip this person. This is literally how I feel when I watch this, okay? And you'll know what not to do next. And here is a video of the then CEO, Jeremy Boring, which somehow Steven Crowder got a hold of this week or last week or whatever. This is just a portion of it. You should watch the entire thing, because it really is something. And ask yourself in your memory, do you ever recall anybody ever being fired where 300 employees, which Ben joined, electronically. He was up on the screen too and just enjoyed watching me be humiliated. Where 300 employees are invited down and shown a production of what this person did wrong. Okay, well, let's watch a little bit of this video.
Candace made no statement at all in the days after Hamas terrorists raped, murdered, and tortured over 1,000 Israeli civilians, mostly Jews, some Americans. And then they took hundreds more hostage. But then on October 28th of 2023, while anti-Israel protests were raging in London, where Candace, I believe, was at the time, she reposted a video of the protests on X, commenting, quote, "Interesting thing happening here. People are not accepting the media narrative about what's happening in the Middle East, despite the insistent rhetoric from government officials."
Yeah, all right, okay.
Talking about people working behind the scenes.
Again, the infighting here, I find it delicious. Like, they're fighting, and basically, one of the things you have to understand about Candace Owens is that she does not give a single fuck about Palestinians. The entire issue of Palestine and Israel to her is a vehicle for her anti-Semitism. And I think that that's going to come out later in this clip. Let's see if I can find the exact part here. She talks about the USS Liberty, which is relevant because Ben Shapiro took questions about the USS Liberty. Let's see here.
Thing that Charlie believed in because you weren't his friend. He didn't like you for that very reason. I look at you and I just think you are such a little worm. I could see you right now, probably. What can we get out to her? We're going to sue her into bankruptcy again, right? Sue her for every infraction, every word that I don't like, and every time my feelings are hurt. Because what you really believe in is Baal Berith. That's what your people believe in. You believe that you are contract lords and that people are not allowed to violate contracts or you will ruin them for years. You fire someone and you effectively stalk and harass them for years after.
She's literally drawing on here the concept of, the merchant of Venice, the happy merchant stereotype, racist anti-Semitic stereotype. Like that's what she's doing here. She's making a reference here to like the pound of flesh from Shylock, the infamous Shakespearean character.
I'm here to let you know that I'm done with it. I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew, and I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what.
Yeah. So, you kind of see where she's going with this. Like, it starts out with like, oh yeah, I can get behind telling Ben Shapiro to go fuck himself. And then it goes into, you all need to know what's in the Talmud because they are coming for you with their focus on contract law. Like, it is just, it gets worse.
What Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us, that they have a right to sue us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA.
Oh, yeah. Also worth noting here, she's about to get to the rhetoric, but I guess I should also point out here that the book she held up, the Talmudic Jew, is it's an anti-Semitic tract written in the 1800s. Like it's straight up like propaganda about how like the real slavers were the Jews, and Jews owned all of the slave ships. It's kind of like if she held up the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Like, that's the equivalent here. Might be a bit different than what some of you might imagine if you look up its original title, which was Der Talmud Jude, which is you might be like, that doesn't sound like English, and that's because it's not. It's German. It's a book written in the 1800s Germany that then went on to inform people like Adolf Hitler. Like, this is you know, like, it's like if she held up the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Now, who wrote this? Who wrote this book? Well, just a man by the name of August Rohling, who is known predominantly as a student of anti-Semitic texts. And let's just take a look. He wrote polemics against Protestantism and Judaism, and his anti-Jewish work, Der Talmud Jude, or Talmud Jude, became a standard work for anti-Semitic authors and journalists. Yeah, those of Rohling's works which concern the Jews, in addition to Der Talmud Jude, he has several other entire-ass books about the evils of Jews, because he was just that motivated by bigotry.
The only missing piece is HOTEP rhetoric.
I mean, honestly, and who knows when she'll embrace that. You know, Sake Tanuki. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. I will also point out here, Der Talmud Jude remained a popular text well into the 1930s. The Nazi publicist Julius Streicher drew on Rohling's arguments in his anti-Semitic newspaper, Der Stürmer. This is what I'm talking about when I say that the war within the Republican Party is whether or not overt anti-Semitism, overt Nazism can be allowed into the party, or if it must remain covert, behind dog whistles and the like. Because Candace Owens isn't dog whistling. She's just straight up doing Nazi propaganda.
Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. The question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. He's one of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? It's an open-ended question. Of course, what followed Ben Shapiro on stage is somebody who Charlie Kirk loved very much and who he fought for to the very end against the Jewish donors who were pressuring him, some of them because Ben Shapiro insisted that they do. Take a listen to what Tucker Carlson had to say when he hit the stage.
No, we're good. We don't need the clip. We've seen enough clips.
Charlie Kirk's true friend, just as I was and am, and will continue to fight and ask questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. And to people that are at home, I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to...
She's using contract lords here in lieu of saying... Jews run the global interests, or saying like globalist, or she's just straight up trying to say like Jews run the banks and we must oppose them. That's her argument here.
Wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men. Okay, wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish.
Wait a minute. Yes, it was almost exclusively a white men sport. It was actually pretty widely a white man sport here in the Americas. Like, you can find examples of non-white men owning slaves, of course, including examples of, Jewish people perhaps owning slaves. But no, this is a common anti-Semitic lie about ownership of slaves and the statistics thereof. And I can tell you, because I've looked it up and like gone through the research, Jewish people weren't the ones by and large owning slaves. Mostly it was white American men. And no, it wasn't mostly Jews who owned the slave ships. The vast, overwhelming majority of slave ships were owned by white European men, not Jewish men. You can, of course, find examples of Jewish businessmen owning slave ships. But the overwhelming majority, even you can look at the records going back to slave ships entering New York City's ports, right? And you can look at the ownership breakdown. The Jews who owned ships at the height of Jewish people owning ships, the height of it, we're talking maybe 7% of ships at the height of it. That other 93%, white American men or white European men. And not only that, I will also just throw out here real quick, for the vast majority of the history of the transatlantic slave trade, the number for Jewish ownership of slave ships was much, much lower than 7%. So again, it's just a lie. Nazism comes to you only offering you vibes and no facts whatsoever. It's why Nazis have to concoct their own propaganda. It's why the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which aren't real, are held up as truth in Nazi circles. It's why the book that Candace Owens holds up has been so popular among Nazi types for so long. It's because they draw on these ancient bigotries and prejudices that have been in circulation for literally multiple thousand years. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this is one of those areas where we're getting a little bit more in the weeds, and I'm helping you guys understand how full of shit she is and how full of shit Nazism is. Okay?
Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They buried a lot of it, but it's there, and you can find it.
Jewish people were not in control of the transatlantic slave trade. There were very specific economic powerhouses and brokerages set up in the United Kingdom, for example, to control who got to control the transatlantic slave trade. And guess what? Jewish membership of those political bodies was close to zero. Because remember, the transatlantic slave trade started as a mercantilist project, as part of the colonial project in its infancy. And so when we talk about the transatlantic slave trade, they weren't interested, they were protectionist about it in a lot of cases. The businessmen were highly controlled and picked by the government. There was not a ton of freedom to just, if whoever you were, just if you had the money, you could do it. That's just not how that worked. You had the East India Trading Company, you had the Africa Company, you had multiple states were founded by companies under the royal crown. This wasn't you have money, you can buy a ship. It doesn't work that way. But again, the people who get suckered in by Candace Owens' rhetoric here, they're just going off of vibes. It does not matter what the facts are, because they're not interested in facts, they're interested in vibes.
I think all of us need to wake up to this, because it's making me absolutely sick that he is so bold that he dare sit near Charlie Kirk's chair, that he dare grace that stage when Charlie Kirk knew exactly what Ben Shapiro was and will always be. So again, on your belly, Ben Shapiro. We'll be back after a brief break.
Vibes don't care about your facts, man, right? twisting Black history for hate is so disgusting. It really genuinely is. But she has no problem doing it. You know, there's no compunction. There's no reverence for the history. It's whatever we can weaponize in order to serve a neo-Nazi line of rhetoric that makes her money. You know, she's racking in the views. This video went up 4 days ago, and it has 2.8 million views. 2.8 million views for an hour-long program, and her channel is just growing. It's up to 5.72 million subscribers. And like, this is one of the reasons that the right is threatening to like rip itself apart, because they don't see a future in Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Like the idea of an unending Trump authoritarian Reich is dead. They are not seeking that. And or at least they don't view Trump as a vehicle for that, even if they might still be continuing to seek permanent authoritarian power. And so what is happening now is a reorganizing and a restructuring of the entire conservative project right before our eyes. And the question is, is the Republican Party going to metastasize into the cancer of Nazism, or is it going to regress into a kind of neo conservatism? You know, are we going to go back to like a George W. Bush style party? And yeah, which way? And I have to be honest, from the momentum I'm seeing, I'm pretty worried it's going to metastasize into a Nazi movement. The momentum just seems to be with the Tucker Carlsons, the Charlie Kirks, the Nick not Charlie Kirks, the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens, the Nick Fuenteses, and I think that I think that is where this is going to go. My hope is that this change in direction utterly destroys the ability of the Republican Party to function in the way that it has historically done. But that could be woefully inaccurate. And I'm especially worried given the panel of Gen Z Republicans that we took a look at the other day, where a lot of them came out to bat for Hitler. Like, the moderators specifically asked them what they thought about Hitler, and a lot of them idolized the man. And this was supposed to be a panel indicative of where Gen Z Republicans are. And I'm worried about where this is going to go, folks. It is disgusting, and I fear that the momentum is behind disgust to the end of the line, wherever that is. So, I don't know. I know that this has been a huge undertaking here, but I'm genuinely curious. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, do the things. Comments longer than 8 words help the most in the algorithm. Also, folks, organize, because we need to beat these fascists, regardless of which side wins. We need to spend this time now organizing so that when they finally get their shit together, we're ready. So join your local DSA and make it more effective, like the New York City DSA. Turn it into an effective political machine. And join your local Democrats and radicalize them to better working class policies. It does not have to be a miserable place for us to exist, this modern era of politics. It does not have to be a constant losing battle. And if we organize the power we need to win, we can continue to march forward. If we win locally, we can win on the statewide ballot. We can win nationally after that. Like, we have the ability to change the world. We have agency, but we have to begin organizing in order to feel that and take hold of it. Do that. Organize. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. It is extremely comfortable, non-tuck lingerie. We also tested it with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It's really comfortable. The reviews are in. It's really great. Check it out. Link down in the doobly-doo. And because I saw a comment on a previous video, I'm just going to throw this out there. I did say the first gender euphoric line of lingerie, and that's very specific because gender euphoric is very specifically how Imogene Olivia refers to the design of these garments. Different designs are going to be referred to differently. So hopefully that clears that up. And with all that, let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack. Riverboat.